All right, good afternoon. Welcome. Sorry for the delay. Let's go ahead and get started on our backs. So let's go bottom of the feet together, knees wide, big stretch through those inner thighs, closing down those eyes. Okay, you're not gonna be completely relaxed here, okay? We want to bring that low back to be flat on the mat. Okay, so you might have to kind of rotate the tailbone up a little bit, pull that rib cage down, keep that core nice and tight, and take that big breath in through the nose and exhale. Relax a little more, but keeping that slight engagement of that core throughout this. Just continuing to breathe in and out. Taking that really big breath in through the nose. And exhale it out through the nose. And pressing all of that air out, we'll tighten up that core a little bit more. Find that big breath in. And then exhale it out. So making that breath just a little bit more forceful. So pulling that breath in, pressing that breath out. Just being really aware of that breath. Really aware of that rise and fall of the chest. Let's guide those knees back together, hugging them into the chest. Just find a gentle rock from side to side. Then we'll lift those knees right over those hips. Shins will be parallel to the ground. Bring those arms out to that T or maybe that field goal position. If the shoulders are a little bit tight, you might have a hard time getting those hands down on the mat. I don't know if you can see mine, but excuse me, I'm struggling with that. So I'm just gonna bring my arms out to a T, and I'm gonna bring my knees over to that right side, hovering them about a 45-degree angle. So you really wanna use that core to keep the knees lifted. Inhale, bring it back to center. Exhale, twist it over to that left side, and those knees are hovering. Inhale, back to center. So every time we're gonna go a little bit lower. Doesn't have to be a lot. Okay, make sure that opposite shoulder stays down. Inhale, bring it back up. Over to the other side. Bring it back up. We'll go over to the right. And back up to the left. Bring it back up. And then hug those knees in. And now start to round that spine. Bring that forehead to the knees. And then we'll extend those legs out. So just do this one time. Warm up through that core. So keep the leg lifted. Keep the fingertips and shoulders and arms lifted. Let's hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug the knees. Start to rock forward and back. So really get a lot of momentum. We're going to plant those feet. Come into that squat first, and then that forward fold. So hang out here in this forward fold. My camera angle is all funky. Just, that's better. And find that half lift on the inhale. So maybe bringing those hands up to the shins. Exhale, slide those hands down as we fold. Just pause it here. Find that nice big stretch through those hamstrings. Then bend into those knees. Flatten out that back. Let's rise up to standing. Reach it up nice and tall. And then exhale, we'll come right back down to that forward fold. Inhale that half lift. Exhale, plant those hands. Step those feet back to a plank. We're going to drop those heels to the right. Left arm reaches up. Lower that hand down to the other side. Heels to the left. Right arm reaches up. Bring it back to neutral. Shift that weight forward as we lower down. Flip the toes. Lift that chest up into that cobra. Or you can press up like I am into that upward facing dog. Then exhaling those hips to the sky into our down dog. Now we're going to inhale on the toes. Bend those knees. Step lightly. Hop those feet top of the mat. If we're hopping the feet, try and be as silent as we can on that landing. Inhale right to the half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up to standing. And exhale, we'll bring it right back down. Inhale, that half lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Now, if you hop those feet back, land in that slight push-up position. You'll bend into the elbows. It kind of absorbs some of that force. Drop the heels to the right. Left arm reaches up. So think of that idea when you land. So if when you're jumping and you land, go ahead and switch to the other side. If you land with straight legs, it's really going to hurt your joints. Kind of the same idea here. So that's why I land with the bent elbows. Bring it back down. Shift that weight forward. Lower. Inhale, lift that chest. And exhaling those hips up to the sky. Downward facing dog. One more breath in down dog. And inhale on the toes. Bend those knees, step or hop those feet, top of the mat. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to standing. Exhale it back down. Inhale the half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step or hop it back. Come back to plank and then right into our side plank over to heels to the right. Back to center. Heels to the left. Back to center. Shift weight forward, lower. Try and pause it in that low plank. Flip the toes. Lift that chest up. And then exhaling those hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Now we're going to come up onto the toes, rounding that spine. Draw that belly up and think about we're getting light on those toes, heavy into the arms. A lot of core work here. Come into that plank. Reverse it. Shoulder blades will pressing away. Rounding the mid, low back bend, flattening it out. Lift that tailbone up. Press those heels down. Again, high on the toes. Roll it forward to that plank. Roll it on back. Last time. Roll it forward. Roll it on back. Pause. One more breath and down dog. Now let's come onto the toes. Bend those knees. We're going to step or hop those feet outside those hands, or at least a little bit wider. We're going to come into that squat stance, so toes out, heels, and sink those hips down. Let's press those elbows into the knees. So big stretch through those inner thighs. Nice flat back. We're still gripping those toes into the mat. Still drawing those feet out, drawing those knees out. Just giving the elbows a little extra assistance, a little more opening through the inner thighs. One more breath. Then we're going to plant those hands. Let's step it on back into that plank. Side plank to the right, to the front, to the left, and down. Vinyasa. And exhaling hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Let's bring those feet together. Inhale. Right leg up to the sky. Curl that right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, send it back up. Exhaling that knee across to that left elbow. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Stepping that foot through. Back heel grounds down. Inhale, reach those arms up. Exhale, pull those elbows down. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Open up through that chest. And exhale, fold it forward into that warrior or into our humble warrior. Notice if that right hip sways out to the side. Pull it back to that midline of the mat. Gripping those toes and the heels. Lifting through the arches. And release the hands. Rise back up. Exhaling the hands down to the mat. Let's step it back to that three-legged plank. Okay, adding in that push-up, so it can be on the knees as well. Push up, pause, low plank, press back up and down. Then lift that chest up, dog. Hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Feet together, inhale, left leg lifts. Left knee towards that left elbow. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale that knee across. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose, stepping that foot through. Back heel's gonna ground down. Inhale, reach those arms up. Pull those elbows down. Interlace the fingers behind the back. Open up through that chest. And exhale into that forward fold. Yes, we can maybe work that shoulder all the way down towards that knee, or maybe you just hover that chest. One more breath. And release the hands. Rise back up to our warrior one. Lower those hands down to the mat. Step it back to that three-legged plank. Add in that push-up. And then move through that vinyasa. Exhaling, hips to the sky. Down dog. And then come into those, onto those toes. Bend the knees again, step or hop those feet right outside the hands. Sink those hips down. Hands or elbows will come inside the knees. Press those knees apart. Nice flat back. 3, 2, and 1. Plant those hands down. We can hop those feet back. Side plank to the right. Front to the left. Front and vinyasa. Push up if you want. And then hips to the sky, down dog. Feet together. Inhale. Right leg lifts. Bring that right knee to that right elbow. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale, that knee across. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, curl that knee in up. Step the foot through. Back heel lowers. Inhale those arms up. Draw the elbows down. Interlace the fingers. Big opening through that chest on the inhale. And exhale, humble fold. And release the hands. Rise back up. Lower the hands down. Send that leg back. Keep it hovering. Push up. Vinyasa. And feet together. Inhale. Left leg lifts. Left knee towards that left elbow. Inhale it back up. Exhale it across. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, curl that knee to the nose. Foot steps through. Back heel lowers. Inhale those arms up. And pull those elbows down. Interlace the fingers. Open up the chest. Exhale, fold. And release those arms. Rise back up to our warrior one. Exhaling those arms down. Step that foot back to that three-legged plank. Push up. And vinyasa. Exhale those hips to the sky for our down dog. And then you can lower onto your knees just for a breath or two in a child's pose. Now, if your arms are kind of feeling it in those push-ups, you can always bring your arms back, reaching for those heels, shoulders relaxed down. Take that big breath in. And exhale, just relax it out. Let's slide those hands forward. Let's come up onto hands and knees. We're gonna come into a puppy pose. Okay, so those hands are gonna walk forward. Hips are gonna stay right over those knees. Core stays tight. Grip those fingertips into the mat. Pull the forearms towards each other as that head softens down towards the mat. Now again, active, gripping through the fingers, pressing into the palms, pulling those forearms towards each other. So really stable through those shoulders. The elbows are not necessarily, if you have a lot of shoulder mobility, the elbows might be touching, but we don't want them to be resting on the mat. And let's slide it forward to our plank. Core stays nice and tight. Hold it here. Gripping those fingertips into the mat. Squeezing those legs towards each other. Now from here, start to lift those hips up. So think we're coming into the same idea as a down dog. This is gonna be a dolphin dog. So we're gonna start to walk those feet up to our elbows. Keep pressing those hips back. So we want the shoulders right behind the elbows. Hips are pressing up, heels are pressing down. Another breath. And go ahead and wiggle those feet on back. Go ahead and lower it down into that Sphinx pose. Elbows are pressing or pulling back, lifting through the top of the head. And then relax it down. Hands will come underneath the shoulders, pressing those hips up and back into that downward facing dog. Now from here, feet together. Inhale, that right leg is gonna lift. Curl that right knee to the right elbow. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, bring that knee across. This time we're gonna extend that leg out. So maybe you stay here. So if you stay on both hands, kind of press those hips down, you get a stretch through that right outer hip. Or side plank. Flipping the left heel down, left arm reaches up. One more breath. And lower that hand down. So trying not to drag the foot, lift, and push, or reach that leg up to the sky. Curling that knee to the nose, step that foot through. Back heel stays lifted. Let's inhale those arms up. We're gonna interlace those fingers behind the head, draw those elbows together, pressing that head back, lifting those elbows up, bend into that front knee a little more. We release those arms up. Hands will come to heart center as we twist. We're getting that left elbow across that right thigh, gazing up over that right shoulder. One more breath. Then we'll reach those arms back up. Back heel spins down. Tee out those arms into that warrior two. Open up through the chest, reaching through those fingers. And it's that front knee a little bit more. Again, let's interlace those fingers behind the back. Open up through that chest, turning towards that front knee. And then again, find a little variation to that humble fold. And release those arms up. We're gonna pivot, turn those toes out to face the corners of the mat. We'll lunge into that left knee. Good, hold it here. If you need to lower those hands down, go for it. Lift through the chest, keep that left heel down. One more breath. Now, we're gonna slide it on over, but we're gonna come into a forward lunge. So we're facing the front of the mat. So all 10 toes are pointing towards the front of the mat. Plant that left hand, twisting, right arm reaches up. Lower that hand down, step it back to our three-legged plank. Let's add in that push-up and vinyasa. Exhaling, hips to the sky, downward facing dog. Feet together, inhaling that left leg up. Left knee towards that left elbow. Inhale, send it back up. Exhale that knee across. Straighten that leg up. So again, maybe just hold it there. Hips will kind of press down. Or we can come into that side plank, reaching that right arm up. Lower the hand down. Send that leg back up to the sky. Curl that knee to the nose. Stepping that foot through. Back heel will stay lifted. Inhaling those arms up. Core stays tight. Sink into that front knee. Now we're going to interlace those fingers behind the head. Pull those elbows towards each other. Pressing the head back. Elbows will reach up. And it's that front knee a little more. And then those arms will reach up. Hands will come to heart center as we twist. Right elbow hooks across that left thigh. Good, now bring it back up. Spin that back heel down. So we're gonna come back to that warrior two. So the left toes are pointing straight forward. Right toes pointing towards that long edge of the mat. And we'll interlace those fingers behind the back. Open that chest. Then exhale, fold. Release those arms. Rise on up, turn towards that long edge of the mat. We're gonna lunge into that right knee. Hips stay down, chest is up. Another breath or two. Then we'll travel back to the front of the mat, lunging into that left knee, so that forward lunge. Right hand plants down, twisting, left arm reaches up. And lower that hand down. Send that leg back, three-legged plank. Push up and vinyasa. Exhaling those hips to the sky, downward facing dog. One more time through. Inhale, right leg lifts. Left knee, or excuse me, right knee, right elbow. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, bring it across. Extend that leg up. Side plank. Lower the hand down. Send that leg back up. Curl that knee to the nose, foot steps through. Inhale, reach those arms up. Interlace those fingers behind the head. Elbows will pull towards each other. Those elbows lift up towards the ceiling. And reach the arms back up. Prayer into that twist. Inhale, bring it back up. Turning into that warrior two. Interlace the fingers, open up that chest, and fold. Release it, making your way into that side lunge over to that left knee. Then walking those hands back to the front, twisting as we reach that right arm up, twisting lunge. Lower the hand down, step it back to that three-legged plank. Push up and vinyasa. Down dog. All right, bringing those feet together. Inhale, that left leg lifts. Left knee, left elbow. Inhale it back up. Exhale it across. Extend that leg out. That side plank. Lower the hand down. Send that leg back up. Curl that knee to the nose. Step that foot through. Inhale, reaching those arms up. Interlace those fingers behind the head. Lifting those elbows up. And then we'll reach the arms up. Hands come to heart center. Twisting, looking that. Ooh, shoot. With me. So we're twisting, pressing into those palms. And then bring those arms back up. We'll come into that warrior two. But interlace the fingers. And humble fold on that exhale. And release it as we come into that side lunge, that right leg. Good, and walk it back to the front and twist. So plant that right hand. Left arm reaches up. Lower that hand down. Step it back to our plank. And vinyasa. So add it in that push-up and then vinyasa. From here, let's just go right into that child's pose. Maybe bringing those knees a little bit wider and then rest that head down. All right, then come back up. We're gonna be on we're gonna come into a plank first. Just on your hands. Okay, we're gonna drop the heels over to the right. Left arm reaches up. Okay, back to front. Heels to the left. Right arm reaches up. Now, we're gonna lower. Right forearm down. Heels to the right. Left arm reaches up. Now, left forearm down. Right arm reaches up. And come back to our front plank. So forearm front plank. Now, that dolphin dog. Hips are pressing back. Shoulders behind the elbows. Walk those feet to the hands. Press the heels down. Lift through that tailbone. Keep gripping those fingertips into the mat. A couple more breaths. Now we're gonna lift that right leg up. Lower it back down. Left leg's gonna lift. Lower it back down. 2 more times each side. Right leg lifts. And down. Left leg lifts. And down. 1 more time each side. Right leg up. And down. Left leg up. And down. Go ahead and lower onto those knees. Hips back to the heels. Resting the head down. Now, we're gonna progress into kind of a headstand. But if you're not comfortable with a headstand, well, first of all, I would definitely use a wall. But second, if you just don't want to do it at all, you can just stay in this forearm plank, even kind of playing around, just holding this in the dolphin. You can kind of find the lifts, okay? But we're gonna go into a forearm headstand. So what you're gonna do, so think of the same idea as when we had our head, we were doing the lunges and we have the hands on our head. Same idea, okay? Now, one of the biggest things, at least for me personally, is when I do this, I don't want my weight on my head, right? I want my elbow or my forearms just slightly above my head, and I'm squeezing those forearms into my head, okay, to stabilize those shoulders. Okay, so I'm gonna, again, just do it against the wall. Okay, so how you kind of get into it, I'll show you the side view, and then I'll show you how it's done. So you'll put your forearms down, okay? Again, bring your head down, squeeze your arms around your head, okay? Your forearms around your head. Now come into that dolphin. Try and lift those hips up high. So those hips are already almost over your shoulders. And then just do those little hops, okay? So maybe you even start there. Try and just get a little bit of lift, okay? Now, if you don't feel super comfortable, not the best angle to start, but here we go. You'll be here, same idea. So again, my top of my head is not where the weight is, okay? It's on my arms, okay? And lift, you know, floating. So here, it's a little bit easier to stabilize. So squeeze those legs together, core stays nice and tight. I think we're squeezing our head, pulling those elbows in instead of letting those elbows bow out. So we want the shoulders stacked over the elbows as much as possible. It's gonna be the safest position on those shoulders. So maybe play around with that. Couple more breaths. And then when you're done with it, you're over it. You can make your way back into a child's pose. On that child's pose, making those knees a little bit wider, kind of a little preview of what we're going into next. So we have that big opening through those inner thighs, and that head can rest down. Maybe the chin, maybe the chest. Now, as we go a little bit wider, so we make our way into that frog pose. Like for me, since I'm on hardwood, I'm gonna bring my knees long ways. Now, what you can also do is, if it's not super comfy, fold the edge of your mat in, so it gives you a double layer of cushion if you have sensitive knees. So bring those knees out as wide as you can. The toes can keep angling towards each other, or if you want to go into the more the traditional frog, if your hips are feeling up to it, turn your toes in opposite directions so they're pointing out. Heels are right behind those knees, or even out past them a little bit more, and then you can start to press those hips back. Now for me personally, that's a little bit too much to have my ankles right in line with my knees, so I like to kind of angle my feet in a little bit more, and then I feel like I can press back and get a little bit better stretch. So just because it's not your textbook frog pose, you kind of got to make it, kind of got to adjust it, make it work for you, because everybody's a little bit different. Not every pose is going to work for every person. And then slowly make our way out of this. Let's come into the downward facing dog. Taking your time. Maybe pedal those feet out a little bit. And then we'll bring that right into that right wrist so it comes across. Left leg slides back. And then lower onto those forearms. Let's rest your head down, either onto your hands or maybe onto the forearms, just kind of whatever position feels best on the shoulders. We can relax into this for a little bit longer. Keep sliding that left leg back as much as is comfortable. A little bit more active, pressing into that right shin, pulling back, left knee pulls forward. And come back onto those hands. Send it back, downward facing dog. Let's go the other side. Left knee, left wrist. Foot comes across. Right leg slides back. And then lower onto those forearms. Resting that head down into the hands. Or again, if even mat is more comfortable, that's an option too. Again, a little more active in those legs. So press into the left shin, draw back. Right knee presses down and pulls forward. And then come up onto those hands. Let's send it back, downward facing dog. And let's come onto your backs. Just hugging those knees in as we make our way down. Just give it a little rock from side to side. And we'll keep that right knee hugged in, left leg slides out long. And then with that left hand, we're going to twist that knee across the body, right arm's reaching out. And inhale, bring it back to center. Switching sides, hug that left knee in, right leg reaches out, and twist. And bring it back to center. Hug both knees into the chest. Just give it a little rock from side to side. And round that spine, bringing the forehead to the knees. We'll extend those legs out, reach those arms overhead. That full body stretch, fingertips all the way down through those toes. And then exhaling those arms down by the sides, palms will face up, shoulder blades will walk together. Taking that big breath in and exhale, sigh it out. Just let yourself completely relax in these next few minutes. And begin to deepen your breath. Just begin to wiggle those fingers and your toes. Reaching those arms overhead, that full body stretch from the fingertips down through those toes. We'll draw those knees into the chest. Gently roll over onto that right side. Right arm supports the head, left arm just falls in front. And gently pressing yourself into that seat. Eyes remain closed for a moment. Just taking a few final breaths of class. Leaving those eyes open. Thank you all so much for joining me. Have a great evening. And we have class 7 a.m. tomorrow morning for an all levels. A little bit more relaxed, a little more gentle. Kind of wake yourself, get ready for the day type class. All right. Have a great night, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow.